Well, it doesn't help, gentlemen, and I'm going to play soundbite here in just a second. It doesn't help when we have Islam kind of encroaching into the very heart of our nation. Recently, the imam for the Islamic Center of Central Jersey, which is a mosque, Hamid Kabli, delivered an Islamic prayer praising Allah from the House floor. This is back in mid-November. It's a few weeks ago. It's still a hot story. John Boehner and other House Republicans actually bowed their heads in agreement and respect as this mullah in the House of Representatives. Let me just play this quick clip because in it he's really calling for everybody in the House chamber to bow their heads and recognize Allah.
The prayer will be offered today by our guest chaplain, Imam Hamad Shabli, Islamic Society of Central New Jersey, Monmouth Junction, New Jersey.
Peace and blessings of Allah be upon you. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Praise be to Allah, the cherisher, the sustainer of the world, the most gracious, the most merciful, master of the day of judgment. Thee do we worship, and thine aid we seek. O God, bless us as we begin a new day. Bless this assembly, bless the people and nation it represents.
So the House of Representatives, this mullah is saying, thee do we worship, speaking of Allah. We seek thy aid. Bless this assembly. Allah is now going to bless the House of... I'm sure, gentlemen, there were plenty of people in the House of Representatives that were just simply cringing that day and had no choice but to stand there. I'm sure they weren't bowing their heads, but plenty were. What do you make of this?
This guy wasn't pulling any punches in what he said. He just laid it out there. Basically, Allah is God. He's the only one. He's the master of the judgment, and on and on and on. If our House of Representatives, if a majority of the people in the House did not have a problem with this, right there already we're sunk.
I know. I've heard nothing. I've heard no outcry. Nothing. Eric, have you?
Very little. And, we had another imam that prayed. He was one of the speakers for CARE. And CARE's, that's an organization that has a lot of very, very questionable, shall I be more bold and say, terrorist ties. He was in the House back in 2010 and prayed. So this isn't the first time. This is an ongoing deal, and this is the pressure coming from the Muslim lobby.
Let me share something personal on this front, because so many Americans believe that Islam is peaceful, that, it's no big deal that there are a lot of Muslims here. And part of me, even though I disagree with them from a religious standpoint, I want to believe that. I want to believe that most Muslims would not go out and kill other people and commit acts of terror. But let me share something with you that's taking place within a mile of where we live in Indiana. A firefighter who is a close Christian friend of ours had to go in and do an inspection at an Islamic school. And he said at first the people were very friendly, but then they got to a larger room, and his host then got very quiet and tried to move him through that room very quickly. And as they're walking through the room, he's looking around himself, and he's seeing Nazi paraphernalia on the walls, swastikas and all kinds of other things, and his heart just sank. He thought, I can't believe this is right here under our noses in a Bible Belt type of suburb with a lot of conservatives. This community, the area that we live in, votes about 70% conservative Republican in every election. And here you have a Muslim school that is associated with a growing mosque that's about a mile away from there. They just had to triple the size of the parking lot because on Friday night, the cars were being backed up into the local neighborhood. It just like creating a traffic jam, really, and the police officers had to direct the traffic. And Muslims everywhere, and to know that this is what their children are being taught is very disturbing. So on the surface, they are at least pretending to be non-radical, but yet what their children are being taught is a hatred for the Jews and for Israel, and I'm sure along with that for conservative Bible-believing Christians. It's happening under our noses around the country, and people just don't realize it. And again, if there's a crisis that takes place in this country, there are going to be those, I believe, within the Islamic community that are going to see it as the perfect time to commit acts of terror and really seize the moment. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Again, just within a mile of where we live, this is taking place. We live